Hey there. Hey there. My name is Adam Reich. Welcome to A Wonderful Tutor. No. Hey there. Let's get some water. Okay. Hey there. Welcome to wonderfultutor.com. No. Hey there. My name is Adam Reich. What am I going to say? And I am the Wonderful Tutor. Hey there. I'm Adam Reich. No, or with. Hey there, I'm Adam Reich with wonderfultutor.com. That's it. Hey there, I'm Adam Reich with wonderfultutor.com. Today we're going to talk about something that comes up a lot when we work in fractions. Least or lowest common denominators. We're going to go over 3 different ways of getting this. It's just such an important thing when we're comparing fractions and trying to figure out whether one is bigger than the other or whether they're equal, or if we're trying to add or subtract fractions. We just need lowest common denominators all the time. So let's make sure that we really know how to get them. Now, the simplest way of doing it is taking the denominator of one fraction and multiplying it times everything in the other fraction, and then doing the same with the second fraction. Now, this really works the best if you're talking about smaller fractions. I'll give you an example. If we're talking about, let's say, 1/4 and 2/3. Okay, well, we can very easily take a look at 1/4 first and just multiply both the top and bottom by the denominator of the other fraction. In this case, that would be 3. So we'll just multiply the 1 by 3, and we'll multiply the 4 by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. All right, now we can do the same thing with the other one. We'll take a real good look at 2/3, and we're going to multiply both the 2 and the 3 by the 4. That is the denominator in the other fraction. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 3 is 12. And there you have it. We've got the same denominator in both fractions, and we can easily either add these together, subtract them, compare them, decide which one's bigger or smaller. That's all you got to do. And that's fine, especially if the fractions are smaller. Now, you can do it with bigger fractions, but it starts to get a little bit crazy when we do that. So I'll give you an example. Let's say we're talking about the number 3/8 and another fraction, let's say 7/12. Okay? Now, if we're talking about these fractions, right away we're looking at denominators of 8 and 12. And if we just multiply those together and quickly get a new denominator for ourselves, we're talking about 96, which is huge, especially since there's probably a good chance we can find a much smaller denominator and make this problem a lot easier for ourselves. So let's do that, right? Now, how are we going to do that? One way we can do it is we can just start to think of what are the multiples of both 8 and 12, and then we can figure out what is the smallest of those multiples that they share. So let's actually start with the number 8. If we're looking at 8 and we just think, well, what are the multiples of 8? Well, 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. Then 40, 48, etc., etc. All right, great. We can do the same thing now with 12. So we've got 12 here. What are the multiples of 12? 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 12 is 36. 4 times 12, 48, then 60, 72, etc., etc. Okay. Not so bad. We can take a look at our list and we can go, well, what's the smallest number that these two lists have in common? 8 and 12, 16, 24, 20. Ah, there it is. We can see that they both have 24 in common. So we can make 24 our lowest common denominator. So now that we know that our lowest common denominator is 24, we can just make 2 new fractions that both have 24 in the denominator. And the next step is what we pretty much do every time we have new denominators. We think, well, let's take a look at the left fraction first. Let's think to ourselves, we multiplied 8 by what number to turn it into 24? We multiplied it by 3. Great. So if we multiplied 3 times the bottom number, we're now going to multiply 3 times the top number. 3 times 3 is 9, and our new fraction, which is equivalent to 3/8, is 9 over 24. Let's do the same thing on the right side. So we're going to think to ourselves, what did we multiply 12 by to turn it into 24? Well, we multiplied it by 2. Well, if we multiplied the bottom number by 2, we're now going to multiply the top number by 2. 2 times 7 is 14. And there you have it. We've got 9 over 24 and 14 over 24, both with the same denominator. Easy. We can now either compare them, subtract them, whatever it is that we're asked to do in the problem. All right, but let's say that we want to work on our third and most advanced way of getting the common denominator. The first step is to make a prime factor tree with both of the denominators. Let's start by getting the prime factors of 8. So we're going to create a prime factor tree. 8 is divisible by 2 and 4. 2 is prime. We'll keep on going with 4 here, which is 2 times 2. And we can see that the prime factorization of 8 is 2 times 2 times 2, or 2 to the third power. Let's do the same thing with 12. 12 becomes 3 times 4. 3 is prime. 4 is 2 times 2, each of which is prime. So it's 2 times 2 times 3, which is equal to 2 squared times 3. We've done prime factorizations a million times. Not that big of a deal, right? The next step is the key to getting the least common multiple, or in our case, the lowest common denominator. Step 2 is actually pretty simple once you've done it a couple times. We're going to look at both of these prime factorizations. You're going to notice that both of them have 2's. Between the two of these, which number has more 2's? The 8 or the 12? If we look at the 8, we can see that 8 has 3 2's, 2 to the third power. If we look at the 12, we can see it only has 2 2's because it's 2 to the second power. Since the 8 has more, we're going to take all of them. 2 to the third power. Now, if we look at both factorizations again, which one of them has more 3's? Well, the 8 doesn't have any 3's, and the 12 has just 1. Well, it has more than the 8, so we're going to take that whole 3 and multiply it. And if we actually multiply this out, we will have our lowest common denominator. 2 to the third power is 8 times 3 is 24. And you probably remember from earlier that 24 was, in fact, the lowest common denominator. Now, whether that's the method you choose to do or not is up to you, but you can see where using prime factorizations could really help us, especially with those large numbers. Anyway, thank you for hanging out today and doing a little bit of math. Please don't hesitate to ask me questions or just get in touch. Adam Reich at wonderfultutor.com. See you in the next episode. You're still on. Okay.